Hi there! In this video, I thought it would be cool to imagine what aliens would look like depending on which planet of our solar system they lived on. I don't know if aliens exist or not, and if they do, I don't know what they look like. So all these drawings came solely on the minimal research I did on the planet and my imagination. So with that said, let's get into the drawing. So we're starting off with the planet Mars, because I thought I should start with the classic Martian, because when people think of aliens, they probably think of a Martian. So starting off with the eyes, I wanted to make it kind of like emulating the classic Martian eyes, with like the kind of large upturned eyes. So I did that. So I made his eyes upturned and made him have like a thicker eyelash, topper eyelash. And I also kind of made his pupils a little longer and skinnier. I had trouble doing the nose. I wanted to give him like a pointed kind of Roman shaped nose, and I was having trouble drawing that. I don't know why. For doing the hair, I thought him being an alien gave me a good excuse for doing really poofy, spiky anime boy hair. So I did that because yes, I'm trying to emulate a kind of classic alien, but I'm also kind of emulating Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, because he's from Mars, you know? But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing his hair. It's really spiky. I don't usually do stuff like that. Yeah. This is me starting on the clothes. So Mars is kind of like a big desert area, so I thought he would be kind of in like desert-esque clothing. Those are the references that I kind of wanted to make it look like. Um, for his body proportions, I didn't show me sketching the pose because I don't have any footage of that, but I thought it would look kind of human. I thought he would look the most human out of all the aliens because Mars kind of has a similar atmosphere to Earth. It's kind of like the only place that humans ever considered being able to live on before. Um, Again, I said minimal research. By minimal research, I mean a quick Google search. I really know absolutely nothing about these planets. But yeah, his clothes were cool. I made them really baggy, kinda. I really like how his scarf turned out. For his pose, I have him kind of like working on stuff. Later in the line art, I put like the logo NASA on it, like implying that he like found a rover and is now like screwing around with it. I don't know. Whoa, we skipped a few steps in the process. So I decided to skip the line art in coloring because I thought it would be kind of boring. So this is me starting off with the shading. For the coloring, I just did like reds, oranges, and yellows because that's like kind of the main color scheme of the planet. For shading, it was pretty basic. I just put the shading where it made sense and like a darker color of the skin tone. So yeah, that line right there is just kind of like where I was gonna put cheekbones because I decided to put cheekbones on this character. But that's not until later in the end. So this is me shading his arm. I'm really proud of myself with this pose because it has a lot of foreshortening with this arm because it's kind of coming towards you, and his leg, which is going backwards, so it gets shorter. I'm really happy with how that kind of looks. I don't usually do a lot of foreshortening, so I was happy that it kind of looked right. This is me shading the hand. I'm not really happy with what this hand looks like, but I still think it looks pretty good, and yeah. This is me shading the other hand. I actually really like how this hand turned out, the way it's like holding the screwdriver. I think it turned out really nicely. I'm not really good at drawing hands, so this one turned out really nicely. This is when I start with the cheekbones. I think they turned out pretty good. I just kind of drew a line where the cheekbones would be, and I kind of like smudged it out. I've never done it on like a digital art before, but I've done it on like traditional art. So I was kind of worried about how it would look, but it did end up looking pretty decent. So I'm happy with it. And of course I added some blush because no anime boy is complete without it. Him being an alien was definitely not going to stop me from adding it. For shading the hair, it was pretty much the same process of shading the skin. I just took a darker color of the hair color and put it to where I thought made sense, which was just kind of like everywhere. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just put it there until it looked complete. To highlight the hair, I just put a band of highlight and erased where shadow was. Then I just put a bunch of lines in it where I thought a strand might be coming through, and I ended up smudging the bottom, and actually I smudged a little bit of the top too, and I added a little more tiny lines for like littler strands. So here's where I wanted to put kind of like a filter over it, so I was going through different filters. I didn't really know what I was gonna do. I found one that kind of made the highlight darker, and I thought that might look cool. Instead of like a highlight, it would be kind of like just a band of shadow, but I ended up not really liking that. And I went with just like add glow, and I thought that looked pretty good. Shading the eyes was pretty simple. I just put a darker color on top and a lighter color on the bottom. For the highlight, instead of like a circle, I thought it would be cool to like put like kind of like a little UFO shape. It's not really noticeable. You don't really know what it is if I didn't tell you, but I thought it was cool. And for the shadow over the whole eye, I thought I usually do blue, but I thought it would be cool to stick with the color scheme and do orange set to multiply. And I think it looks pretty cool. For shading the clothes, I took this really dark red color and set it to a multiply, and I just used that one color for all the clothing. So I just put it where the wrinkles were and where it made sense to me. Again, I'm not very good at shading stuff, so this is me shading the scarf, which I'm really happy with how it looks. I'm really happy with how it looks with like the goggles and stuff. I'm just really proud of myself with the scarf. I think the hardest thing for me to shade was the pants because they were really loose and baggy, so I didn't really know where the shadows would really go. So I just kind of guessed. I don't know if it looks completely correct, but I think it looks pretty good. So yeah. The metal parts were fun because I got to make them look pretty shiny. To make them look shiny, I put a darker color and smudged it out, and then I put a lighter color in the middle of the darker color and smudged that out to make it look shiny. I did like the same process with the goggles too. To make the goggles look like they were filled with glass, I put white, I filled them up with white, and I erased like lines in them and then lowered the opacity. So this is the finished results. I'm really proud of this picture. I think it ended up looking pretty good and looked pretty similar to how I envisioned it looking in my head. Like I said before, I think my favorite part is definitely the scarf and goggles. I just think they ended up looking really cool together. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making this picture, and I actually have the next 2 planet aliens almost done, so see you then.